Hello, Sorme.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Stressed.
Why are you stressed?
I don't know.
Oh, are you like nervous for today?
Sorry.
Are you nervous for today, or is it
A,
more?
a little bit.
Yeah. Last day of online learning, though. That's pretty awesome.
Oh no, I want to stay online.
You like online better?
I don't love it, but it's easier, I think.
Okay. Why do you find it easier?
Um, I don't know. It's like I do it in my own pace, and like the classes that they took like 1.5 hours to finish, they finish it in 15 minutes, so I have more time on things that I like more.
Okay. Like vibraphone. Did you ever buy your own vibraphone?
No, I'm still thinking. I'm still like checking some stuffs because I'm not sure if I'm like gonna continue it or no. That's why.
Oh, okay. I think you should continue it.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, so today is the meeting with the I forgot the name. The
His name's Mike.
March. Yeah. Today. Okay, that's why I'm really stressed for today.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great. Did you get a chance to perform it on Tuesday? You didn't, right?
No, I didn't, but I practiced now, and I think it's pretty well. I don't know.
Did you want to like do a quick run through for me before everybody else shows up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's
Just
do that.
give me a second. Hold on. I just have to. Okay,
And can you turn on your camera?
my camera. Let me. Okay, it works. Hi.
Hi.
Just give me a second because my piano and my computer are kind of far apart. I have to take out my laptop and take it close to each other. Sorry.
Oh, I see. No problem.
So, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, hold on. This is not loud enough. Oh my God. Ah, damn it. I'm so stressed. I'm really sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Just like you're safe. You're at home. Nobody can hurt
Oh,
you.
I know it's really stressful. I don't know. I get really stressed when I have to perform. Okay. Sorry. The
Okay.
last part was wrong, but I'm pretty sure just like one or two more tries, I'm gonna be okay because I took off my computer now and it's on my piano now. Sorry.
No, you're doing great. There's one thing that we need to change though. Um, is there a way for you, because you're on your iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Um, is there a way for you to go into the audio settings and turn on original sound? That was one of the things in the D2L post that I said, like, make sure you take care of this before Thursday. Because right now, like, Zoom is just blocking out a bunch of your music, and
Huh.
I'm playing it well, but I can't hear it.
So hold on. I have to go on the settings, am I right?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Welcome
Oh,
back.
sorry. So I have to go in the setting of it. Let me check the tool because you say the description is already there.
Yeah, so I'll see if I can help out. Hey Dan,
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, just great. We're trying to figure out how to get music mode uh, on Sorme's device.
On the phone?
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea myself, but I'm also terrible at finding other things as well, so I need to find it on the computer in the
Yeah.
first place as well. So sorry, sir, I'm no help.
It's okay. There are resources on D2L. I think Sorme is frantically looking those up. She just
Yeah, I'm trying to find them.
I know. Um, yeah, but like your performance itself, like that was great. It was hard to hear, but it worked well.
Oh, I might need to update Zoom. Do you know how to update Zoom?
Um, are you on a Mac or PC?
PC.
If you go into the menus across the top of the screen, is there like a check for updates in one of them?
In view? What do you
Uh,
mean by menu?
File menu or maybe help or settings.
Because I can only get to settings through trying to get to through the audio settings. But in general, or
Well, if you've got original sound working, then you might be fine. So Sorme,
Yeah, I'm seeing that. My problem is that I can't, when I go to the setting, there's no meeting there.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
That sucks. And so you went to settings. There is no meeting. Lame. And it's on an iPhone, so it should be there. Is it the latest version, do you think, or is it older?
It's my phone.
Yeah,
My phone is a iPhone 10.
yeah. But the Zoom app is updated as well.
Yeah, the app is updated, but I can go and check it now too. Give me a second.
Where's my Zoom?
okay, I should be set. I kept thinking that the settings would be under advanced, so that's why I thought that I probably needed to update, but they're not. So I found the stuff.
Nice. So Stormy, were you able to make any changes to the settings at all there?
I don't think so. I just did a little. I don't know if it works now. Let me just give it a try.
Yeah.
So is it easier to hear it now?
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong. But was it easier to hear it?
Yeah, a little bit. Is your phone like right on your piano?
It's next to it exactly. Yeah.
Next to it? Can you see what happens if you move it, like put it right on top of your piano, like where your music would be?
Okay. Let's see now. Better?
Yeah, it is actually a little bit better.
Oh my god, this is a problem. Huh. Let me see what else I can do. I try to like fix it until the meeting, but I don't know what else I can.
Yeah, no, I mean, like what you're doing is working okay. The only other thing that we could try, if you've got that original sound turned on,
Yeah, I'm trying to like find it, but there's no like on my meeting setting. There's no like meeting, or I have to like just give me like 10 minutes to see if I have to upgrade the app or something.
sure.
I will do that. Sorry.
Okay, you got time. Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm certainly doing.
Doing. So, hey, there's something I want you to know about.
Okay.
On the band Google Classroom, there's two links up there. One is to a fireside chat kind of reflection form, and the other one is to a set of calendar appointments. And so,
Calendar appointments.
yeah. So, what I would like you to do, if you can, is take a few minutes and give as much feedback as you can on the fireside chat form. It asks like 6 questions. And what I'm looking for is your most honest possible responses.
Oh, that sounds terrifying.
No, really,
Sorry.
like
Hold
the
on.
things that you thought went well, and things that surprised you, and things that
Oh, okay.
like stuff like that. And and then tomorrow, if you're free tomorrow, there's appointment slots in there, or we could do it in person next week. And just like talk through some of the things that you thought about in your response, and give some feedback on how the year went, and what kind of things we learned about learning music, and what things we should keep, and what things we should change for the future.
Where, what thing is that under? Which classroom? Is that just
Um,
under the PDA band or?
yep, yep.
Okay.
EVA band senior.
Let's see if I can find it.
Hey Connor, how's it going?
It's going all right.
Sure is. Sure is. Anything interesting happened since I saw you last?
No.
Good. Good.
Uh, Mailman, the thing that you're talking about, is it not the regular school survey that they had going on?
No, it's one that I made that I would
Okay.
like to do. And it is on the most recent um
Oh, I see. It has 2 attachments. Yes.
yeah, one says Google Forms and the other says Google Calendar. So do the Google Form first, and then do the Google Calendar for tomorrow.
Okay.
And just pick a slot to talk, unless you would rather do it in person next week.
All right. All right.
That would be great. Oh my goodness.
It's been a tiring couple of weeks, you know.
Right?
Yeah.
I ran out of regular Coke, and now I'm drinking diet, and it's not the same.
That's my mom's
Diet
favorite
Coke
version.
sucks.
It sucks.
See, so my mom almost only drinks Diet Coke, right? So at this point, I'm so used to the flavor of Diet Coke that I can't drink regular Coke without being like, wow, that's sweet.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No,
crazy.
I am an anti-Diet Coke. I really dislike the taste of the aspartame.
Oh, that's fair. I'm very used to it now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Is your camera still broken, TJ?
Yeah. It's so annoying. Oh,
Wow, Connor, you look like a person today. It's amazing. You look amazing.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Your hair all combed over, looking sharp.
How are you doing today, Mr. Mailman?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. I've been having interesting conversations with everybody today, which I really appreciated.
What do you mean by these interesting conversations?
Well, that's not what I wanted. The interesting conversations, I was just saying this to Dan. We are doing a feedback form in band, and after people have had a chance to like think through the feedback form, then they book a 10-minute conversation with me, and we should have you kind of do the same thing actually. And it's on the band Google Classroom,
Okay.
just a chance to like talk about the year and what worked, what didn't, and TJ has 2 devices running.
Yeah. And on Zoom, because you can actually leave the audio, you don't get the terrible kind of, that sound?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. On Google Meet, at least as far as I can see, you can't leave the audio, so it's terrible.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I would have heard about that if I had been in band today, right?
Yeah, we launched it yesterday during class, and then the kids were meeting with me today instead of going to class. So we actually didn't run band class today because we were doing these appointments instead.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this is the thing that actually belongs in the chat. Can someone open that up and just see if you can you open up all of everybody's PDFs and see everything? And
Yep.
nice. Okay, so that's the performance order for today. And I'll post that again once everybody's here. But you will, it's the composer's name is what's listed. And so if you are performing that person's piece, you can then be ready to do it.
How dare you make me the very first one?
Well, warm up.
Mailman.
Warm up, tune. Make
This
sure
is
that your
abuse.
backing track is ready to go.
Right in the middle of me trying to fill out your form, and you have me perform first. How cruel.
Well, it, yep. As always, my job is to make you miserable, and I am good at it.
Just for reference, then, are we supposed to have the sheet music up while somebody else is playing?
You are allowed to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
But it might actually be a good idea, because as Mike is going to give us some feedback on these pieces, you might look at it and be like, oh yeah, that does make sense.
Right. Okay.
Low Callum. Hello, Ben. Callum, you type with the rage of 1,000 suns.
Do you
I
mind
did
if
it
I?
fast as needed.
Sorry. Do you mind if I test out just for you right now to make sure my trumpet sounds okay?
Sure.
Is all clear?
It's all clear.
Cool.
Yeah, so Ben, you should have your backing track playing through speakers so that we can hear how the piece fits with the backing track. Callum, the thing that I just put in there is both the PDFs to everybody's sheets and the performance order. All right, so you'll see that Keeley's is theirs. I think it's number 7. And so you can just download it straight from there. Ooh, it's very high, but I think, yeah, Callum, you might have to drop that an octave. Oh no. Okay. Then in that case, Callum, if you go down to the where it says Jazz Partner Spreadsheet, everybody's note flight is there. Right. So Ben, you're performing Finn's piece, so you're going to perform second, but your piece would be performed 9th. And I don't know if Finn is coming. She messaged me earlier to say like there's something else that she couldn't do. I don't know if she's planning to be here or not though. So you may have to perform your own piece, which is too bad, but you know. Hello, Mike. How's it going?
Adam, how you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Good. Excuse me. Hey everyone, how's it going? How you all doing? Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're very excited. We're
It's like-
we're almost all here.
Okay, all right.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we're waiting for about 3 or 4 more people. Class just started this very instant, and
Okay.
there's always a social studies teacher that thinks their course is really important or something. They're like, no, stay till 3:35. They don't understand.
No. So what is this? Is this a class or is it a after school thing or what's?
Yeah, so we have our classes in music sometimes run outside the timetable, so the kids
Okay.
get credit for this course.
Okay.
And so it's a full 5 credits like any other high school class, but
Okay.
twice a week all year long instead of for 1 semester.
Okay. Okay.
And because it's after school, these are very dedicated and extremely talented students.
Oh,
So
great.
I'm setting you all up for high expectations. No worries. We'll live up to it. Don't worry.
Good.
Yeah, here we go. A few more people coming in. So where are we at now? We have almost everybody. Almost. 14 participants, so that means we're missing 2 more people today.
I think somebody wrote somebody's not coming in the chat.
Yeah.
Finn's not able to come.
Yeah. So we normally have 15 people in our jazz band.
Okay. Okay.
And
And so would you normally be getting together after school and stuff in a band? Okay.
yeah, and as you know, Alberta is leading the country in terms of COVID right now. We're one. So
Even worse than us here in Ontario.
Yeah.
We're pretty bad. Yeah, I know. I heard. I know. We all sort of trade off, right? First it was Quebec, and then Ontario. Now Alberta. It'll be back somewhere else. And
Yeah, we'll all just take turns. It's fine.
terrible. Terrible. We just got news that we're opening up.
Yeah. Yeah, us too.
Very premature, but yeah.
It is. So for everybody that's here now, what I've done is I've given you a link in the chat to a Google Drive folder, and that is a link to everybody's PDF of their.
Yeah, I've got that open here on my system. So I have everybody's 12. I was looking at them earlier.
Right on.
So everybody had to write a 12-bar blues in B flat.
You bet.
Okay.
And so just to give everybody an idea of what or how we'll kind of run it today, is we'll use that Google Drive folder as our um, kind of performance order. And as you listen to each performance, you can pull up your classmates' composition. And when Mike is giving us feedback, you can actually like look and see, oh, in measure 6, he's saying this. I get what that means. All right. So you're all going to be ready for that. If there's anybody that is here, I think someone is unmuted that maybe I can mute. Does that help? Oh, it was you, Mike. Okay, good.
Yeah, you know what? I got this microphone here, so you know what I'll do is I'll probably put my headphones on. That way I'll get rid of that.
That's great. Thank you, Mike.
All right, hold on a second here. All right, that should be better.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think for most of us, we had someone write the piece, and then someone else is going to perform that composer's piece. So it's a little bit of like, are you able to interpret what somebody else wrote and do cool things with it?
Yeah,
So I want to introduce Mike to you guys. Mike is a professor at York University. He's a jazz guitarist. He's a composer. He's been doing work in bringing music out to communities and helping to kind of like bring music out to the area where you live. Yeah, and so I'll talk about that in a second. So Mike was very generous to offer to spend some time with us today, both to help you become better jazz musicians and better jazz composers, but also because he's running an amazing summer program this year that I mentioned on Tuesday, and is a really great opportunity for you. So I wanted to give you a chance to meet Mike and sort of talk and maybe ask some questions about what's the summer program going to be like? What is life at York University like? Is maybe going on in music in jazz something that's interesting to you? Yeah, I think, Tay, your question has been answered. The list is by composer. So if you know that you're playing Anna's piece, for example, then you're performing first, but we're going to be referring to Anna's piece first. Okay. So welcome to Mike. Let's all give him a warm central round of applause, unmute and say hello.
Great. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Mailman. Thanks for having me. And I sort of, you can all hear me okay? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I reached out to a variety of different schools across the country. We've always had different, York University is located in Toronto, of course. So we've always had people from around the country apply and audition and come to our school, from Vancouver all the way across to Halifax. So I thought this is a new initiative that we started, and I'll talk about that a little later. We'll get on with your compositions first, but I reached out to your teacher, and he was very gracious enough to respond and invite me for this. I'm really excited to hear your pieces. I looked at them briefly, and they look great. Nothing but blues. So a little bit about myself. Yeah, I'm a composer. I compose in the jazz idiom. I usually compose things for jazz orchestra. That's my sort of setting. And I did a master's in composition and trying to finish up a doctorate degree where my specialty is social history, and I'm looking at jazz at the CBC particularly. But I teach composition at York. I teach jazz workshops. I lead the jazz orchestra, and I also lead the rhythm and blues ensemble. And I also teach some harmony courses, harmony and counterpoint. So, we've got a lot of things going on. I'll talk a little bit, if we have some time, about the program, and if people, down the road are interested in coming out to Toronto, we'd love to have you. And you can ask any questions, and feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to ask your teacher for my contact info, send me an email if you have any questions or anything. I'd be happy to help out. Okay, so why don't we get on it? Apparently, you're writing 12-bar blues in B flat for someone else, which is always a challenge. Usually writing for yourself is one thing, but when somebody else has to play it, it becomes something else. It's out of your hands, right? And that's one of the most difficult things as a composer, is to write something and then let it go out there in the universe and let people play it. And as you know, Beethoven and Mozart and Bach, and they've been dead a long time, but their music still gets played all the time. So there's something about composition that outlives us, and hopefully it does, and it finds a new life in different ways. So that's always very exciting. So why don't we, usually I would get everyone to introduce themselves and stuff, but I don't think we have time. I think we probably want to get to it. So maybe when you play your piece, you can say who you are, what you play, and your inspiration for writing this 12-bar blues head, why you wrote, because some of you have some very interesting titles and things that give me a little bit of insight into what you're thinking about, but I don't want to misinterpret that. So you can tell me a little bit about it. All right. So is it Anna or Anna?
Yeah, Anna, will you introduce your piece, and then Dan, you can just worry about playing it.
Okay, my piece, wait, I forgot the title of it. Yeah, 12-bar blues. I wrote a 12-bar blues and Dan's gonna play it.
It's called Yeah, Yeah, Woo, right? So Anna, what do you play? What's your instrument?
I play guitar. I originally wrote it for guitar because I didn't know that like someone else was gonna play it originally.
Okay, good.
So Dan plays it on trumpet. So
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
Thank you, Anne. Alright, got my backing track. Can you hear that, by the way? Yeah? Okay.
Good. Sounds great. We didn't hear the backing. I don't know if it's just me. I didn't really hear the backing track. Did you all hear the backing track?
Sorry.
Maybe, what
oh.
helps with Zoom is that turn original sound on.
Well,
That
I have that
helps.
on. It's
got that?
because
Okay.
it's coming from my computer as well. So
Okay.
yeah. Sorry about
All
that.
right, but that's okay. I heard your head. All right. Well, good playing and nice composition, Anna. Do you want to say anything about it first before I make a couple of comments?
Not particularly. You can
Okay.
just go right into the comments.
All right. Okay, so it sounded great. I like the motivic development. Do we all know what motivic development is? Sort of the little motifs that you pick up on that one motif. And I'm going to just open this up in another window here. So that do that, do that, do that, do that, that. That's a nice blues motif, right? Really nice, short, succinct phrase. And usually our blues motifs are 2 measures long, right? And then for the 4 measures, we usually sometimes repeat that, or we have a little answering phrase. So you decided to repeat that phrase into the next 2 bars, which is great. So it works well harmonically, rhythmically, the note choices all sound great. And then you've got the same phrase, of course, transposed to fit your 4 chord on the F7, which sounds good. And then you're back to your initial phrase when it goes back to the tonic chord. Now, is there a reason why when you go back to that initial phrase in measure 7, that you go down the octave. What was your conscious choice there?
I more so did that just to, I guess, add some variety to it. Also, I just liked how it sounded, I guess, to
Okay.
have it like move down an octave.
Okay, and I agree. It gives it a different contrast, and it also flows nicely from the measure before in terms of range. It doesn't jump up to the E again from the G, which sometimes sounds a bit disjunct, right? So you're coming in from a G, and then everyone's seeing what I'm talking about, and then going into measure 7, you're going down to the E below the G, right? So it's sort of coming back down in contour, and then you build it back up. Now, just a couple of things that you might think about. So I like the fact that you've got a contrasting, or at least an answer to that in measure 9 over the 5 chord, but it's not really an answer, right? It's basically a reiteration of that same motif, just transposed to the 3rd of the chord, and then sort of coming back to the thing. So you really don't have an answer phrase. It's one of those blues heads that basically has the same phrase repeated 3 times through. Correct? Is that what you were aiming for? Okay. So, because I remember your teacher mentioned that you talked about how you have a phrase, repeated phrase, and then an answer to the phrase. So we don't have that here, like a lot of blues, right? When you think of blues, artists, and especially maybe take a step back, the blues is a vocal art form, right? It started as a vocal art form that grew out of folk music and grew out of African-American spirituals and field haulers, right? And so when we think of, let me just see if I can get my guitar here. Hopefully you can hear this. I don't have my guitar plugged into my interface today. But can you hear that? Yes. The weather's wreaking havoc on my guitar these days. Okay, so when you got a phrase, like a country blues thing. I went down to the crossroad and I fell down on my knee. I went down to the crossroads and I fell down on my knee. And I asked the Lord above mercy, save me if you please. Right? I went down to the crossroads, I fell down on my knee, I repeat it, and then I have an answer to it. So we don't have that here. We've got sort of repetition of 3 phrases, which comes about in post folk or rural blues when we get into instrumental blues, like New Orleans, into Dixieland, into the migration north. We get this blues style where it becomes an instrumental form of music. That wasn't its original intention, right? It was originally vocal. And so if you have a vocal, vocal music, you don't want to say the same phrase 3 times, right? And that 3rd phrase comes from a call and response, right? And that's that African-American gospel tradition of sort of call and response. And you have the pastor or the minister saying a line, and then the congregation responds, much like in a Christian church, right? And whether it's Catholic or Christian or Baptist or Methodist or whatever. So, so I like the way you set up the phrases. one thing I could suggest is that everything comes in on the downbeat of 1 on beat 1 in your piece. The rhythmic, by the time I hear it, by the time I hear measure 9, I want to hear a rhythmic variation. So I would suggest that I like your phrase, but what about what we call rhythmic displacement? Do you know what rhythmic displacement is? You heard this term?
Haven't heard it specifically, no.
Okay, somebody's nodding yes. Thomas, you're nodding yes. What does rhythmic displacement mean?
It's when you take a rhythm and then you displace it. So in this case, like you could just like shift it over an eighth note to get more syncopation. Good.
Great. Excellent. Okay. So taking just that phrase, keeping the same motive, you may have to change a few notes around to fit the rhythmic structure, but shifting it over maybe to the and of 1 so that it's not so predictable and not the same, right? Taking that phrase and maybe just shifting it over rhythmically all of a sudden creates a sense of a response, even though you still have the same motive. So that's one way to get that same structure of call and response in the blues with the same phrase, is to rhythmically displace it. Does that make sense? Right? What else can I say about it? Oh, this is, as you see, I'm a guitar player and I come across this all the time. We don't think too much. Anybody else a guitar player here? Are you all horn players? You're a guitar, Caleb, you're a guitar player. Anybody bass player or piano player? Any piano players? No? So one thing that rhythm section players don't think about a lot is articulation. And by that, I mean, you heard the trumpet play and sort of put some inflections in there and stuff. But you as a composer, you're the one responsible for dictating where those inflections and where those articulations go. So the more you can be specific with the markings, the more true to your composition the performers will play. How many of you have played a Bach prelude or something? Maybe you've taken piano lessons when you were 5, right? What do you notice about that? Can somebody tell me? Calum. Is it Calum or Callum?
I actually put my hand up and I realized I actually haven't played Bach. It was Handel, which I played, and I always mix those two up.
That's okay. That's okay. It's Baroque. But what do you notice about Handel? About playing the piano music?
Oh, well, when I play it, quite often what my saxophone teacher tells me is that when you get to the grace notes, or like the trills, you always start one up above the actual note you go. I'm sorry about that.
Good. No, that's great. We're getting at it. And what we're getting at is notation. And that is, in the Baroque period, if you look at a Bach manuscript, because there's lots of them online of his handwritten manuscripts, there's no markings on it. It's just notes. There's no markings, nothing, right? And it's up to the performer to put in all the articulation markings and all this stuff, right? Whereas by the time we get to 2021, we as composers, we indicate all the markings and articulations. We don't leave very much open to the composer. Look, compare a Bach score to a Stravinsky score, and you'll totally get what I'm talking about. Stravinsky, every note has staccato, marcato, accented, legato, phrase markings, dynamic markings, everything is all outlined. You might as well have a computer play it because it's all the information is there. Of course, I'm being facetious, but in Bach, you've got nothing. And the reason why that is because in the Baroque period, everybody would have read a book, what we call a treatise, on how to perform keyboard music in the Baroque period. And you would learn about what Calum said about the ornamentations. So he doesn't have to write the ornamentation. You would learn how to do that, and you would apply that to the piece. So, but jazz is very different. Jazz is, we want to be as specific as possible to the articulation. And guitar players don't think about it much because we don't think about articulation, but horn players definitely do. And so when I see a piece of music like this, I would go do da ba do da do da ba boo da ba do da, right? I'm putting my own inflections in there.
Mike, I'm gonna move us along because we've got lots of kids.
Yeah. These are common. These I was just thinking that these are going to be common things that everybody's gonna, because I looked at everybody's pieces, and nobody put articulation markings on it. So I don't know if that was part of the assignment.
It wasn't, and to be
Okay.
like using note flight is a frustration itself. But
it's okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
I want to give a few more.
Yeah. Okay.
Played.
Cool.
So
all right, but good. That was I loved it. It sounded great. Sounded good. All right. So what do we got next here?
Finn isn't here today, but her performer is.
Okay.
So
you want to play it, or you want to leave it to the end? Or
let's maybe leave it to the end, and if that's okay with you, Ben, and then maybe if someone can text Finn and let them know that their piece could get played for Mike, if they can make it later, that would be great.
Okay.
Artem's performance will come up next. So Artem, will you?
All right.
But Artem, your guy isn't here either.
Oh.
Rhythm section really let us down. So Sormay's performance is up next, and that's Keely who's going to play that.
All right.
And for those of you that didn't, or that your performer didn't show up today, one, I mean, like, send them angry text messages. But two, if you would like to perform your own piece, you are welcome to do that. But you may need a second to set it up. In the meantime, Sormay, will you introduce Keely and your piece?
Hi, my name is Sormay, and my piece is a 12-bar blues, and Keely's playing in my piece, and it's named No Name. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, can you hear that? Is that okay? Just a second. I messed up the last note, but
it's okay. Sounded great. Thank you. Good work. Good work, Keely. And Sormay, good piece. All right. So once again, we have another piece with a motivic sort of development, which is great. The one, when you have, one thing that I sort of hear and see is when you have something of this motivic nature, sometimes just altering a pitch will still maintain the integrity of your motive. And we hear this all the time where we have the same rhythmic motive and also intervallic, this sort of falling interval that you have right off the top. And you can still maintain that, but I think it could be maybe strengthened by matching the harmonic instances or what the chords are that are happening. So for instance, if you look right at the beginning, sounds great. You're going from root down to flat 7. And that's good. And you're playing with those pitches there, because you have it again here. But when you get to measure 5, I like that you stay on the same pitch to start with, but I would try bringing that A flat down to a G to match that E flat 7 chord, and still so that you just have a slight little variation, but you're not changing the phrase at all. So I know what you're going after. You're going after the same phrase over the different chord changes, which works well, right? In the blues, if you use anything from the blues scale or the pentatonic scale, it all works over those chord changes, and that's great, right? But just to try it, did you try it, Sormay, with a B flat going to G on that E flat chord?
No, not actually.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
No, I didn't try it.
Hang on a second. Let me just change my audio device here. Sometimes I get some lag. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, no, I didn't try it like that.
You didn't? Okay. Okay.
But I'm new to this stuff, so I know the feedback is going to be really helpful.
Okay. All right. So Keely, can you just try that? So in measure 5, change that A flat to a G.
Would you do that
You know what
in
I'm
measure 6 as well?
let me just look. I gotta open up the other window here. Yeah.
In
Yeah, so
measure
change
5,
the-
I don't have an A flat.
Oh, what? Okay, this is in B flat. So what do you got? Whatever you have, go down a semitone on the second note. What are you playing there? I can't. You playing?
So in measure 5, there's a G and an F natural.
Okay, so can you play G and E?
Sure. Just E natural?
Yeah.
And
G
sorry, do
going
you want
to
me to
E
just
natural?
do that one measure?
No. Play the whole head without the
Okay.
accompaniment. So
Just a
one.
second.
Sorry.
Sorry, just a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Does it sound okay to you? It's a preference. It's a stylistic
It
preference.
sounds really good. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes just that little change. And then what I would also suggest is similar to Anna's piece, or Anna's piece, that the last phrase on measure 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, once again, maybe you could, instead of doing quarter, maybe that one could be 2/8. Ba-da, ba, as a response, right? Instead of da-da. So when we get to the 5 chords, da-da, 3, 4, because I can just hear the rhythm section going, setting it up to whatever sort of phrase, right? So I don't know, it's something to try.
Yep. Thank
Is
you.
that okay? Anything else? Also, just a reminder, I went through some of all your charts. I know you're using, you say you're using Note Flight and all of these, I know they're really cumbersome and awkward and not as flexible as you would like them to be. I know it's easier to write things on a score, but just make sure if it's a 12-bar blues and we're setting things up, let's do 4 bars and 4 bars and 4 bars, because it really helps our brain to visually attach what we see to what we are feeling and how things are organized, because the blues is organized in 3 4-bar sections. Most of you did that, but some of you have a 5-bar phrase, and it just sometimes gets a little difficult. But good job. Sounds great.
All right, thank you. Taya, introduce your piece, please.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We can.
Is my camera on? Sometimes it's not working.
No.
Okay, I will figure that out. But my piece is Blue Groove. The name, I honestly only chose it because my dad does emceeing, and I thought it would be funny I totally heard him saying that title in my head, and just the way he does it, I just hear my dad's voice. So that's the only reason I chose that title. I was kind of inspired by more traditional type jazz, not the more exploratory type of blues. So yeah, and Connor is playing it on the trumpet. So yeah, I will let him go from there.
All right.
Nice, good. Thank you, Connor. All right. So I was looking for Taya. Taya, are you still there? Did we lose Taya?
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. Oh, there you are.
I
Okay.
got my camera work.
You got your camera work. Okay, I was looking for
Probably
a
my-
blank screen. Okay, good work. That sounded great. You said more traditional blues. I'm not sure I hear more traditional blues. I'm hearing more. What do you mean by tradition? Like a more traditional?
Like traditionally jazzy sound.
Okay,
Not like,
good. Yeah.
not the contemporary type of sound we hear where there's a lot more people.
Yep.
There's a slight change in genre. I'm more inspired by less would it be, I think it's called the Blues Renaissance, which is like Harlem Arts era, but a little bit before that.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Actually, wait, no, Harlem Arts era, because the other way is like the big, like parlor stuff. Other way around.
After that, you mean?
Yeah.
After. Okay. Well, what I'm hearing is so far it's the first one that you have a lot of notes. It's quite a bit of phrases,
Yeah.
right? And who's our trumpet player that just played that?
That'd be Connor.
Connor. Is it a lot of notes? Is it a mouthful?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. And it is. It looks like it and it sounds like it. And there's nothing wrong with that. This blues is coming more out of a bebop kind of tradition, which is Charlie Parker,
Yeah.
Dizzy Gillespie. That I think that's what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Good. Okay. So it's more of what we call a bebop head.
Yeah.
And so because you've got a lot of sort of angular things and that's great. It's totally of that style. So if that's what you were after, you captured it, which is good. Just a couple of things. Once again, the rhythmic end of things could use a little bit of tweaking. I think you've got a good skeletal framework here. And the one thing that I'm challenged with is the repeated notes in the triplet figure.
Which one?
So there's a bunch of them. There's one in measure 5 and measure 7 and 5 and 7. Those repeated D's and then you've got B's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, first of all, I think these are B flats, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then this one is perhaps a B natural. You could sort of go either way there. So you might be able to experiment with what you want. Sometimes you go with the natural third on the 5 chord to really brighten up the sound. And
I think I did have it as a natural.
Yeah.
But the program is weird. But I'm not sure.
Okay.
I thought it sounded weird with just the 2 notes too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I might have thought that and did change it. I don't know.
Okay. So in terms of rhythmically, the repeated triplet notes, and this I lead the jazz orchestra, and this is always an issue. It's difficult to articulate repeated notes in a triplet figure and still maintain a sense of this forward swing motion that we want to sort of, because it's kind of an awkward phrase. So what a lot of writers do is they get off the triplet grid, because you know that the drums are playing that ting, king, ka-ting, king, ka-ting, and it's that that triplet sort of grid. And so to not interfere with that and not sort of get caught up in that, they counter it with a rhythm that's contrasting. So what you hear a lot in blues writing, and if you listen to Count Basie and anything by Sammy Nestico and those kinds of writers, you hear a lot of da da do da
Yeah.
da da do, that kind of phrase, as opposed to da 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 da. You hear da da da, and the reason why we do that is because we end up separating the sorry, I'm looking for you. We end up separating the phrase. Da da boo da do da da do. So it actually ends up being 2/16 notes with an eighth,
And
right?
not
Not the triplet.
okay.
So
Okay.
you could fool around with it rhythmically there. I think if you clean up the rhythmic aspect of it and get some of those more dynamic rhythms and stay off that triplet grid, then I think it would add on really, I think you would have something that has a really nice rhythmic contrast to what the drums and the bass are doing, sort of keeping that swing rhythm. Does that make sense at
Yeah,
all?
I'll play with that.
Yeah.
Would that be with all of the triplets in there?
Not all, because then it starts getting predictable and
Yeah.
like, for example, I like the first one.
Yeah.
In measure 3 there.
Thank you.
That works nice, but that's because it's chromatic.
Mhm.
And that's very characteristic of bebop. But I think these ones here, and this one's fine too, because it's also chromatic, but these ones here, I think could use something there rhythmically.
Yeah, the two triplets on the bar there.
Yeah, like this one here. And oh, sorry, I'm pointing on my thing. You're not seeing my
I know what you're talking
measure.
about.
Sorry, measure 5 and measure 7.
Okay.
Right, those are the two measures that I think need addressing rhythmically.
Okay.
Otherwise, it sounds great. Really good head, like really complicated, and you've got some good action going on.
Thank you.
Nice material for soloing, right? Because when you solo, you want the melody to have some interest so that you can use some elements of it to build your solo. So you've got a lot of that happening.
Thank
Good.
you.
Hang on. Connor, let's I think you might have one of the best titles of the day. Why don't you?
All right, so mine's the old Scoopy Doop. I don't know why I named it that, but my kind of inspiration for it was just to create a simple motif and then play around with it, see where it would go.
He didn't say it, but I'm playing it.
Yeah, Taylor's playing it.
Can I screen share on here? Mm.
I don't think you should. You should just play.
Okay. With the backing track?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant by screen sharing. Sorry, I lost it. Oh no. I had it up. I was like so ready. Can you hear that? All right, let's go.
All right, good. Thank you. Good playing, Taya. It's not, that wasn't an easy head. A lot of those leaps aren't very conducive to the trombone. All right. Good. So that's Connor's tune, is it?
Yep.
Okay, good work, Connor. All right. So once again, good solid motivic playing. Obviously, you mentioned that you're building this off a motif, which is good. Once again, I think this head would benefit from a little bit of musical editing. And that's the most difficult thing for a composer to do. The most difficult thing for a composer to do is to eliminate notes. we always want to add notes, but when we have something to go back to it and say, you know what, I don't like this, or let me take this out, right? And that's always the most challenging thing. So by that, I mean, if you look, I like the phrases, right? You've got that repeating phrase in the first three measures, you've got it. And then you've got a little variation in bar 4 with those 2/8 notes. But I feel that those 2/8 notes interfere with the next phrase. Do you feel like the flow gets, I feel like the flow gets kind of interrupted, and I think that could be easily fixed by eliminating the first eighth note.
Yeah.
That you've got two D's there, right?
Yeah.
Eliminate the first one and just have a phrase on the end of 4 to lead you into measure 5. Okay, I think that would really help to keep the momentum going, because that once again, those double repeated notes, they're a real killer for momentum, right? So especially, I don't think it's necessary. Get out the first one, get that phrase, and it'll bring you right into that nice phrase that you have on the 4 chord. So other than that, I mean, I think another editing thing I would do is in measure 9, of course, when you go to the 5 chord. Yeah, I think something rhythmically there feels a bit awkward, and maybe it's the 8th note on beat 4 there. Ba boo da da ba ba doo da doo da. You know what I mean? Like, get rid of that 8th note, just keep those 2 quarter notes on beat 1 of each of those bars as a sort of phrase marker. It just feels a little bit what's unsettled. I'm not sure, but yeah. Other than that, it sounds great. Is anything else? Any questions you have on it? I like it. Sounds good.
I don't have any questions on it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
All right. Yeah, sounds great.
Thanks. Keely, let's introduce your piece and your performer.
So I wrote the 12-bar blues called Rubber Duck. And I originally wrote it on alto saxophone, and then we had to transpose it. So it was a little bit different after I transposed it than when I originally wrote it, but Callum's going to be playing it. So.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Great. Sorry, I was looking at the chart. Who played that? Who just played that? Yeah, okay, good. We were getting a little bit of distortion. Were you getting distortion on your end? I was getting a little bit of distortion on my end. But that sounded good. Sounded good. Now, I like it. This is quite a bit different than the sort of earlier bebop thing we heard. This reminds me of something a little more 1930s sort of swing, especially with those right, those rolling eighth kind of phrases that we get. So I think it's good. I think the I'm just sort of feeling the rhythm. Yeah. As a response in measure 4, that you've got a dotted eighth note, dotted quarter, and then eighth half. I feel like that eighth is once again interrupting the flow of the swing feel. So I would try and make dotted quarter, and then put that D on the end of 2 there, and like tie it over. So get rid of that 8th note. Ba ba, right? Ba ba, right? Coming out of do ba do ba do, right? And then sort of playing do ba do da do ba do da do ba do da da ba, right? Instead of ba ba da, it sort of really sort of ruins kind of the momentum of that, because it's such a strong phrase. You've got such a strong push into that measure, right? You want to keep that momentum going. So the other thing is, when you come back to that phrase on the 4 chord in measure 5, I wonder if you could try, instead of having that same 4/8 note pattern, just have boo, boo, ba, boo, bop, bop, do, bop, bop, that kind of phrase, instead of do, ba, do, da, and like almost have like a little rhythmic variation, do, bop, bop, do, bop, bop. I think it would help with kind of push it along a little bit. You see that sometimes the problem with 8th notes together, especially with intervallic leaps like that, it starts to sound very stilted. And by that, I mean, it's very difficult to make it swing, right? Because you're sort of jumping up and down. And so when you sort of maybe change the rhythm, you can all of a sudden make it swing a little harder. I think what's feeling do ba, it starts to sound a little too kind of what we call kind of Humpty Dumpty time, Humpty Dumpty Dumpty Dumpty, right? That sort of swing feel, that really stilted swing feel that sometimes we get. It's difficult. It's a tough thing to get with those intervallic jumps, right? And then the last thing I'll say is, I'm not sure if this is a notation thing in measure 5, 6, 7. With you've got a 16th rest there. Is that? Did you mean to do that, or is that something going on there?
So I think when I was writing it, what happened was I had an idea of what I wanted the rhythms to be, and then it just kind of happened, and then I guess I didn't change it.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it feels weird. It looks kind of weird. It looks a little bit out of place, I guess. I think I know what you wanted something maybe a little more syncopated. Is that sort of what you were going after? Like to ga. So if you're to ga, three to ga, like that's what it would sound like, right? On the 2nd 16th, but it sounds a bit odd in that context, I think. And then finally, the last phrase, I think it's overwritten, meaning I think you got a good idea. You sort of want to climb up to that climax. I think that's excellent, because you sort of come off, and I could sort of hear a big band playing that and then coming out with a screaming solo. I think it's excellent, but I think you need to edit the notes out a little bit so that it doesn't sound so you know, what's that in the mood kind of, you know, that sort of marching band kind of feel. So I think if you edit it out a little bit, you can still get that effect you're going after, which is that nice big climax, but a little more idiomatic to the swing feel. But yeah, no, it's good. I like it a lot. This is, you know, all of you, it's really great to hear this, I will say, in that it's not easy to write something that sounds stylistically, you know, like a blues, because I'm sure you listened to a bunch of blues things with your teacher and to get some ideas and things, right? And you hear it and you go, yeah, it sounds so natural. It sounds so good. And then to sit down and actually write something like that and write the rhythms and get the notes and get the phrases and think about motives, it's not an easy task. So I'm really impressed by all of these so far. It's really, really great.
It's really hard to make it sound easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's The old adage. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we do like one or two more, and then maybe you can tell us a little bit about the summer program, and then we'll like
Sure.
hammer through to the end
Okay.
and do like a one piece of feedback for each person. I
Sure.
want this like juicy nugget.
Sure.
I think we've got Caleb up next.
Yep.
Caleb, if you want to introduce your performer.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'm Caleb. I play trombone. I composed this one for trombone. TJ will be playing this one. He's a trumpet player, so we had to do a little bit of transposing. It's called Forehead because I took head and then forehead, and then they're usually greasy and sweaty when you're playing jazz, so yeah, TJ, you can. Yeah.
All right, hello.
Hey.
Here, I'm just going to pull up the backing track, and then let's get to it.
All right. Good job. Okay. Sorry, am I hearing an echo on my end? Is that okay? Well, good playing and good head, Caleb. All right. Wow, I would have never, when I saw that head, I would have never imagined that coming from a trombone player. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of notes and very little breathing space. Like you basically have got full. And when I hear trombone players, I usually hear the opposite, this sort of very lyrical thing. So I'm generalizing, of course. But anyways, it sounds great. All the, pitches, all the notes, rhythms are good. Once again, I would try and maybe separate the phrases a little bit. And I think, is it TJ? I think TJ kind of did that naturally, but I would like you to build it into the tune. Don't leave it up to the performer to do it. So by that I mean that first phrase, da da do da da do da 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 do da, right? I would make that second note, instead of a quarter note, I'd make those 2 eighth notes and leave a rest, so that you separate the phrases. Do that, do that, do that, right?
Yeah.
You sort of hear
okay.
the separation of it. All of a sudden, gives it some rhythmic flair, right? And just
Yeah.
I always say, imagine like a big band playing it. And so when you see something like that, you could hear the brass. Boo that, do that, do that, da bop, but do that, boo that, ba da bop, right? You sort of hear that rhythmic because it's so rhythmically strong, but the way it's written, do da da do da do
Yeah.
da da. You know what I mean? Cool. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So just change the phrasing, build in the rests. And then secondly, the last phrase sounds a little too, what's the word? Scalar
Scaly.
to
Yeah.
me. Yeah. So I think the contour is good. By that, I mean the shape. I love the shape. I think it's got a really good balance with the shape. But I think leave a little bit of space, maybe eliminate a couple of those eighth notes to get some phrasing. And then all of a sudden, now you've got a nice phrase as opposed to a scalar passage. I would hear this more like a solo kind of thing as opposed to a head. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Cool. Good. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. So Ben, you're up next. Your performer's not here. Do you want to play your own piece, or what would you like to do?
I haven't spent much time on my own piece. I've mainly been doing the one that Finn wrote.
Okay. You are a good partner. and I know Finn had a family tragedy today, and so is not able to be here. So Finn is also a good partner. They're not available to be a partner today. So Ben, would you like to maybe talk through your piece, or do you want to try to play it, or shall we just like share a note flight screen of it, or what would you
I
like?
can talk about it, and then we can share the note flight, I guess.
Sure, I'll pull that up while you're chatting about it. Okay.
Yeah, so I like originally wrote this for alto, and then had to transpose it to bass clef to work for euphonium. I didn't really base it off of anything or take inspiration from anything. I just kind of put a couple of things down and just started going where I felt made sense, I guess. And then came out with this.
Okay. I can't see it.
Do you have it up there now on my screen?
I don't. I just have I just have like a black screen on yours.
Oh dear.
Does everybody see the music?
I see all your tabs, but none of the music.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Let me try that again. It was loading at the time.
Okay.
Is that better?
There we go. There we go. Perfect.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Okay, there we go. Now it's gotten
Before
clear.
you play that really high note in the first measure, I don't know why it's there. It's not supposed to be there.
It's not supposed to be. Okay, I figured that. Yeah. Okay.
And there's a couple B flats that shouldn't be there, but I was having some tech problems with it.
Okay. Can you play the sound through there? Okay, cool. Okay. All right. Good. It's pretty good. I think I like you've got I think what you have here is the good beginning of a blues head. And by that I mean you've got the skeletal framework that you need. You've got the rhythmic phrases and the notes and so on in the right places. I think what we do have, and this is very common, is that we've got some overwriting, meaning too many notes going on. And I think if you look at your piece and you say, okay, what are the notes that really define my phrase that I want to say? It's like speaking, right? We could speak on and on and on and talk about all kinds of stuff, but when you, the listener, leaves or takes something away from it, you boil it down to its most most integral parts, right? The little takeaway that from it. So you, as a composer, you've laid out all the material, and you need to come up with what is the takeaway from this. What phrase do I want people to take away humming or thinking about? And I think when you have too many notes, that gets kind of obfuscated. It gets kind of sort of hidden or buried. When you have to sort of look at something, you've got to weed through the stuff to find the kernel of what you're looking for. I think that's what you need to do here, because I think it's there. And just a couple of very easy things to think about is maybe start with the rhythmic phrase boo da do da da ba do boo da da. That's the first phrase. Now, how can we whittle that down to something that's a little more swing friendly? So maybe something like do da ba do da ba ba do da da ba do da. I've just completely opened up the rhythmic. And I think if you take a simple rhythm like that and then put in your ideas in there, you'll come up with a really good rhythmic, a really good head. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's just a matter of laying out the ideas and then going back and saying, okay, what can I take out to make this a little more swing friendly or whatever we want to say. Okay, hopefully that helps.
I think that's great feedback. Yeah, great stuff, Ben. Dan, you're up next, and then after Dan, we'll talk a little bit about the summer program.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is called, hold on, let me find it. Mine is called 12 Bars Blues, Baby, and the subtitle is Love Working at Midnight because I wrote it at midnight.
Like most of us are working.
Oh yeah, right? It was it was a long night.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have to be honest, I didn't think we were at the time sharing it with other people, so I was writing it for myself, right, for trumpet, and then Anna got the joys of trying to figure out what the chords are on guitar because I don't know how to put chords on note flight, and so that was fun. But all in all, I like had fun actually placing the notes, so you know. And I tried to make it sound not too clashing with the backing track. That was like my main goal with this piece is like just to have the notes not clash in time with the backing track. So it's all very in beat, right? Unlike some of these pieces, but that was kind of the idea. And if you want to take it away.
Can you guys hear that? Okay.
Good. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so good. I can see you're sort of going after a sort of more about rhythmic than the notes, than the notes themselves. So you sort of like those what we call stabs, right? Ba, ba, boo, ba, right? Those sorts of things, which is great. You achieved that. I think that I see that in measure 6, you in measure, sorry, measure 6, you wanted to create some rhythmic variation there, so you put the shot on the end of 1 instead of on beat 2, like the other one at the beginning. I think this works if we incorporate some kind of balance with the quarter note phrase. So when we have ba, ba, and let me just get it up, ba, 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 right? Ba do ba do ba do ba da do da ba da, right? Da da. Yeah, I think by the time we get to the 5 chord in measure 9, I think we need the tune is screaming something different, right? Because you keep that really simple motive going, and it's good. It's chugging along. You create a little bit of rhythmic variation. By the time we get to measure 9, I think we need to, at least personally, I feel like we need maybe another rhythmic phrase. Because if we continue that quarter note thing through those couple of measures, it loses momentum. I think you see, what is the reason of repeating something, right? We think about it psychologically. We repeat things, number one, to sort of hammer the point home, right? To accentuate an idea. We also repeat things to make them predictable, because we like a certain level of predictability, especially in a blues. But it gets to the point where sometimes the predictability outweighs its usefulness in a certain section, right? That we want something different to complement what we just heard. Does that make sense in any way? You know what I mean? So I think you've got right up until measure 9, you've got a great head. And I think for your 5 chord, I think it would be good to write something contrasting to that quarter note motive, especially at the end of the blues, because you want the excitement to sort of, once you hit that 5 chord, you want the excitement to be here. You don't want it just to hang out here all the time. And by repeating the note, we're hanging out here, sort of mid-range. And then when we get to that 5, harmonically it goes here, but you're still hanging out here. You want to hang out up there. Does that make sense? Cool. But good work.
Yeah.
And good playing too.
I'm learning so much today. Like this, like the feedback that you're giving, Mike, is so insightful and so like just right on the money.
I hope so. I hope I'm not sort of rambling on that.
No. Like the things that you're coming to and the points that you're making, like it really, I feel like this advice is going to help open up these tunes. Because what they're going to do is they're going to be like taking your feedback, doing some edits,
Okay,
and
cool.
building them up for performance on our year-end recital for some of these.
Oh, good.
So this is so great.
Hopefully it's helpful for sure.
Yeah. So,
and then some of you may say, you know what, the heck with your suggestions. I'm the composer and I'm going to write whatever I want to write. And that's okay too.
Yeah, so tell me, like, what's going on this summer?
Okay, so
what we do?
Basically this year, of course, as you know, has been challenging for everybody. It's been a heck of a year. Have you guys all been home this whole year, or has it been in and out, or sort of? Yeah, it's right. We've been online all year at the university, and most universities in Canada have been online. So we decided to do something this summer, and we hope to continue it in person next summer. It's virtual this year, but we've got a 3-day event where we're gonna do some theory and improvisation classes every day for 3 days by different professors on our faculty, and followed by our faculty members teaching some instrumental master classes for each instrument. So we've got a trombone player and a saxophone player and a guitarist and bass player, drummer, vocalist and everything to teach individual master classes in this setting. And then we regroup towards the end of the day after lunch to do like some talks on music. And the first talk is on jazz and blues. And then the second one is on, we have a really great professor on faculty that directs our gospel choir. So she's going to talk about gospel music and the influences of jazz and gospel. And also we have a great professor that is an expert in hip hop and rap and urban African-American music. And he's going to talk about influences and what he does in combining jazz with rap and hip hop and stuff. And then our final talk is going to be on, jazz and other global cultures. So jazz and Latin music, jazz and Middle Eastern music, jazz and Southeast Asian music, and how people are fusing all of these musical styles. How many of you listen to Snarky Puppy or Wolfpack or Dirty Loops or any of those kind of bands, right? You've heard of some of them? Okay. So that's really what jazz is now, right? Like jazz is no longer, a saxophone player in front of a jazz quartet. It is, that's part of it, but it's also about bringing in rap and hip hop and funk and soul and Latin music and all kinds of different styles and fusing them into this music. Because now I think categories now we're trying to break them down. I bet every single one of you have an iPod, or not an iPod, a Spotify mix that has all kinds of music, from jazz to rock to blues to hip hop to pop to all kinds of things, right? And so we're hoping to address all of those musical styles and how jazz is sort of at the heart of a lot of those styles and how we can intermix them. So the camp is, we call it a camp. We're hoping that it'll become a week or 2 week long event when we can get in person. But for now, it's a virtual 3-day event, and it's free. So it's at no cost, and it's in July 26th to 28th. I sent your teacher all the info. You can pass it along. There's a website. You can check out some videos of some of our students and what we're doing. And you can check out the calendar of events of what's going on, but it's free. So I really encourage you to take advantage of it, because it's some really great faculty that we have that are going to talk about a lot of things that I think you can definitely get some stuff out of, especially hearing you play. Like, you all sound, I will say, you all sound really great. I'm not just saying that. Like, you sound really great, like your phrasing, your sound, everything. And this is through Zoom, but it sounds really great. I'm really impressed. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I'm very, very pleased and impressed. So thank you so much for sharing. But yeah, come out and drop me a line. Let me know if you're coming. I'll look out for you and say hi to you, and we can chat and ask what you're looking for and what kinds of things you're interested in. I'm always interested in that. So please let me know if you need anything from me, but please sign up.
Yeah,
it's
and I'll
free.
put, all of Mike's contact information on D2L and the link to the video and the website and stuff like that.
Yeah, great.
This
Thank
is
you.
a great opportunity, and you should all sign up for it, because I think you would learn a ton over those 3 days. And with our luck, those will be like the 3 snowy days in July. So it'll be fine.
You don't have snowy days in July.
We do.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna put you up next, and we're gonna go back in time. Artem's piece was number 3. His performer wasn't able to make it today, so he's gonna play his own, and then we'll continue after that with TJ's and Callum's.
Okay, hello. My piece is question mark. It's so on Google Drive, it's a whole step higher than how I play it. So when I wrote it, I was just kind of playing with the B flat blues scale, just going up and down it with different rhythms. And so I just found a rhythm that I liked and just put it on paper. So yeah.
All right, good job, and well played too. Good. I love it. I really do. I really like it. I was going, oh no, if I hear that ba boo da ba da ba ba da, if I hear that again and then no, but you changed it. I thought, okay, good, great, and I like the change. It's not predictable, but it adds just a little bit enough of a variation to make it interesting. So that well done. It's really well done. The last phrase. I think I would clean up the rhythm in measure 10 a little bit. Can you play the last line for me?
Yeah, sure.
Without the backing track, just yourself. Yeah. Maybe something like that, right?
Yeah.
To get rid of that, like to break up that phrase a bit.
Yep.
Something like that, right?
Yep.
And also the rolling eighths in measure 9. Those are common sort of, you know what I mean? Like, once again, a little bit of editing So ba ba do da do da bo ba do da ba ba do da. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree that that sounds a little more exciting rhythmically?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's where you
It's
want it.
already really repetitive, so with
Yeah, yeah. I think
different.
it needs a little bit of just rhythmic tweaking, but the phrase is there. Your
Yeah.
phrase is there. You just need to rhythmically tweak it a little.
Okay.
But it sounds great. I love it. Sounds
Thank you.
good. Good work.
Awesome stuff, Arno. All right, I think you said TJ's performance was up next.
Is this number 13 here on my list?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Flow 4, and that's not the name I had for it original. I actually had a different name, but when the name for all the parts, like the full score, it didn't apply to the individual part layouts. So then when I exported it to for Caleb to play, it just put Flow 4, and that's how we introduced it on Tuesday when we were going through, and I just thought that was great. So I decided to keep it that way. And yeah, so it's Flow 4. Take it away, Caleb.
Okay, I'm gonna be playing it. I'll do it pretty quick, like pretty fast tempo. I haven't practiced much pretty fast tempo, but I think he would have wanted it fast. So. Sorry, I messed up those high notes, but yeah.
That's okay. That sounded good. That's all right. Okay. Not an easy little head. Okay. So good. I really applaud you for coming up with an arrangement. You know, like you wrote up these parts and you know, you've sort of got the beginning of a nice little arrangement here. So the one thing I could say is I like your little rhythmic motet. Ba, 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 da, 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 ba, da, 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 ba. Is that what it is? Da, 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 ba, ba, ga, 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 da, ga. Yeah, I think it's good. I just wonder the answer phrase if there could be a little bit of once again too much repetition with that phrase, maybe like an answering phrase or something. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like you've really cemented home that rhythmic phrase in the first 8 bars. By the time we get to that 5 chord, I feel like I want to hear something off of that, you know, to bring up the energy a little bit more, if that makes any sense. And then the other thing is, yeah, I like the. I really like the. There seems to be a little bit of rhythmic displacement going on. Is that what you're after? This sort of bringing the phrase. Yeah. Did it happen naturally or intuitively, or did you purposely do that?
I just wanted to write like a more syncopated phrase. So.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You know what you might want to try is you might want to try sometimes putting the beginning of a phrase on the beat. You see, syncopation only is effective if we feel the interaction between the downbeats and the upbeats. If we don't feel that friction between downbeat and upbeat, we don't feel the syncopation, right? Then it becomes just a rhythm. You know what I mean? So maybe in parts of the phrase, maybe like in measure 5 of that, to put it on the downbeat and do that, you know what I mean? To sort of to re-emphasize the fact that you are syncopating the line. Because if it's all syncopation, then it sort of loses its impact, because we don't hear the downbeats. Does that make sense? Now it's hard to hear because it's hard to hear without the backing track sort of on and stuff. But yeah, does that make sense? Does that help? Yeah, cool. That sounds great. Well done.
Awesome. All right, we've got one more performer, and Callum, if you would introduce your piece and your performer.
Hi. So
hey,
this is my piece, Jazz, with 1Z. You know, the inspiration came to me. I was in the shower and I was thinking about jazz, and then the song just popped into my head, and then I kept singing it over and over for like 10 minutes so I wouldn't forget, and then I voice recorded it, and that's how it happened. Anyway, Sormy is going to be playing it, so yeah.
Can you hear this? I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
we can hear you.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. Oh, it went quiet. Went really quiet there first.
It's quiet?
Yeah, it went really quiet. Did it go quiet for everybody? Yeah. Maybe you can turn up the backing track in yourself.
I think I can. Just give me a second. Sorry. Sorry, give me a second.
Okay. It was very quiet, but I was listening. I had my volume cranked here. That's okay. I heard it. I heard it. I heard it. Good. Well done. Good job, Caleb. For this one, I think once again, I like your rhythmic ideas, but I think what's getting lost is those nice rhythmic ideas are getting lost in the scalar. Like down, going da 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 da, you know what I mean? Going up and down the scales. So I think what might help is if you eliminate some of those scalar runs, whether they go up or down. Usually going down, yeah. You know what I mean? Like it starts to sound like you've got a phrase and then you've got a scale going down. So I think the phrases are nice. Maybe look at those scalar passages and see if you can break them up into more rhythmic ideas, jazz rhythms. So, for example, if I look at it, do ga da ba da ba do bop bop ba do da da bop. All I did there was I eliminated a couple of the notes, right? And that way I broke up those strings of eighth notes. See, you would play something like that in a solo, for example, but not so much in a melody statement. Does that make sense? Yeah. Good. So, was that all of them?
Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah. Okay. So just a couple of overall things. Remember, you're all, if you're interested in this music, and obviously you are because you put in this effort to do this, and it sounds great. But remember, like anything, music is a language, And in order to learn the language, the most important thing to do is to listen to the music, right? And I know it's sometimes difficult because we only have so much time in the day and we have so much music we want to listen to, right? I can never get to all the music I want to listen to. Inevitably every day somebody is sending me a new recording to listen to. Check this guy out, check this recording out. And I just keep adding it to my list and I never get to everything I want to listen to. But if you're going to write a piece of music or play a piece of music, the best way to get inside that musical style is to listen to pieces of music that exemplify that. And so by listening to something, you adopt and absorb the language. How many people have gone to another country that speaks a different language than English? And okay, do you feel like when you're there, you are absorbing the language that people are speaking, even if you don't really speak it? You are hearing it, right? And all of a sudden you leave and you have these phrases that are going around in your head, right? That you've absorbed and didn't even really sit down and learn them. And the music's the same way. It's amazing what your ears can absorb by osmosis. So just by listening to a jazz tune or two a day, by the end of the month, you'll start having all those phrases come out of you like a language, right? And if we had some more time, I would play a little bit of something for you. I don't know if we have just a minute just to play. If I think of a blues, for example, I've got all these phrases in my head that are floating around there. Let's say I pick a blues. Can you hear that? Right? And you can hear that I'm not even thinking about the blues progression, although it's in my head and it keeps going and it keeps going because I've heard it so many times. I can access that 12 bar form at any point and come up with a phrase that fits the chords and the rhythm and what's happening. And the only way that I can do that is because I've listened to it my whole life and over and over and over again. I've absorbed the language. And you'll get there if you're interested in it and you dedicate yourself to it. You get to the point where you can hear these things going on in your head like a conversation. You don't think about the words when you're speaking, right? You just speak. It just comes out, right? So it's similar to this. I'm not even thinking about the phrases as I play them. It comes out because they're already floating around in my head and I've heard them before. Okay, so hopefully that helps and hopefully you got something out of it. Thank you so much for sharing all your pieces. It's the most terrifying thing as a composer to share their work with others. So thank you. It's a privilege.
A wonderful session, Mike. Thank you so much for your time and your insight and just all the feedback that you've given us. I think we all got a chance to learn from each other's performances and each other's pieces and
for sure.
So big thank you. Please applaud for Mike before we dismiss the class. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. It's a real meeting you. And please, I hope to see you in July. Send me a message and register and come on out. It'll be fun.
Yeah, so I'll be posting something for everyone to read after today's class with some of that info on it. You are all dismissed. And I know, Mike, that Thomas had a question for you after everybody
Oh,
left.
did he?
If you have time to stick around, he would love
Sure,
to.
I do. Sure, I do. I can stick around for a few minutes. Sure.
Everyone, you are dismissed. Thank you so much. And
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Thanks so much. Stay safe. Thomas, you had a piece? Cool.
Yeah, so Thomas is a composer, and he saw the assignment of doing a blues head, and he said, yeah, I mean, well, that's fine, but can I do something bigger?
Okay.
I said, also do the blues head. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
That's something.
Sure, sure. What do you play, Thomas? What's your main instrument?
I play trumpet.
Okay, awesome.
Do some singing and piano.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still working out some of the stuff. I was trying to write some solos, and
Okay.
I'm still working on the solos.
Okay, cool.
Like some feedback for your thoughts.
Okay.
Here. This is it.
All right. That sounds great. Good work. That sounds great. So what are you using there? Are you using Sibelius or something, or?
I was using Dorca. Do you know?
Okay. Which one? What's it called?
Dorca.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
It's a new.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it sounds good. It sounds good. So what's is that sort of like a big band kind of thing, or like a large ensemble? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like a big.
yeah. Okay, cool. And it sounds good. I think it's really great that you're interested in this stuff. And if you are, I don't know if you have any sources for things. Do you have any books or resources for writing for large ensemble like that?
Well, I'm actually using a book to prop up my phone right now.
Okay, which book is it? Oh, the Adler, the orchestration. Yeah, the Samuel Adler's study of orchestration. So you know what I think would really help you, because I hear it's hard to hear through the Zoom and stuff, and it was a bit right. But I hear these chord voicings and stuff, which are great.
Sorry, the hockey game's on.
The hockey game. Okay, give me one few minutes.
It's starting.
Okay, thanks.
Toronto, Montreal.
Yes, I know. My son. So I hear the chord voicings, like the brass voicings and stuff, and I just hear like sort of like root position kind of voicings that you're doing. And there's a number of books I think that would really help you with understanding how large ensemble writing works. One is called The Complete Arranger by Sammy Nestico. And the Complete Arranger by Sammy Nestico. And another one is called oh man, let's see if I can figure out the proper name for it. Oh geez, I want to say Linear Composition by Bill Dobbins, Dobbins. If you look up Bill Dobbins and look up something like linear composition. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. It's been such a long time since I looked at those. Am I right, Adam? Is that
Jazz Arranging and Composing, a Linear Approach.
There you go. There you go. I knew the linear was in there. So those two books are really great. And you could probably find them online too, because they're pretty old. So, and why I say that is because you'll get some really great ideas about how to voice those big chords that you have with the brass and stuff to figure out some voicings. Because I think you've got the ideas, you've got the sort of basic structure and stuff. What you need are the, what's the word? The techniques of how to get that across in this particular style of writing. And those books are really great. Like I think if you sat there for the summer with the Sammy Nestico book and just worked on the exercises in there and stuff, you could go back to that arrangement and really make it sound like you want it to sound. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because you've got all the elements are there. It sounds really great. Sounds good. Just think when you're writing for large ensemble, think about balance. And by that I mean, when do you have a lot of things playing and when do you have some things playing? And then try not to fall into the trap of everybody play, then solo, then everybody play, then solo. Try to think of more of a balanced approach where you have some people playing, then a solo with some other people playing as background figures, and then everybody play, and then maybe a few, you know what I mean? So you're creating a journey. You're creating this journey that you're taking the listener through these ups and downs. And it's very similar to listening to a Beethoven symphony. He takes you on these ups and downs for 4 movements: a fast one, a slow one, a waltz, a fat. You know what I mean? Like you go through this journey. So think of it the same way, but yours is just in 4 minutes as opposed to 45 minutes. You're taking that journey, but it sounds great. Really good work. Good for you. So hopefully those sources will help you.
Great, I'll look at that.
Yeah, cool. They're useful for sure. They were my first arranging books that I got, and I still look at them, especially the Nestico book. It's awesome. It's got everything you need in there. It's really good. Cool.
All right, great. I know you have your son wanting to watch the game.
It's all right.
Your help.
No problem. Take care and come out to the camp. I'd love to see you.
Totally.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it'd be great to have you there. So come on out. Great. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you.
Awesome. Yeah, Michael,
Adam.
thank you so much. I don't want to keep you either.
Oh no, that's okay. Thanks again for having me. I hope it helped, and
Oh, this was amazing.
Good.
I mean, the kids look dead, but this is their last day of online learning. We just got told we're going back on Monday, and
we're all dead.
Yeah.
I'm like spent with this online stuff.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, right? It's just yesterday I was on Zoom for 8 hours.
Yeah, I know.
Between meetings and teaching, and it's just too much, right?
It's exhausting, and so like the kids, they look dead, but they really loved it. They stayed.
Oh, they're great. They're really good, man. They're good. Like, so what is your school exactly? Like, what is it, an arts school or?
Yeah, so it's a 10 to 12 school. We audition kids to get into the program.
Okay.
We accept
Okay.
everybody, but
Yeah.
It's,
But it's
it's kind of become self-selected that way.
Yeah.
So the kids come in with a range of experience, and then we just work their butts off, right? Like,
Okay. Yeah.
band every day. They take a theory class. They do what we call music in context. So like this year they studied a Mozart opera and
Okay.
interviewed musicians from around the world.
Great.
And then we get to the end of the year, and they're all just finishing up solo recitals where they've been doing private lessons with their teachers, and we're just trying to give them the broadest experience we can.
Sure. No, they sound really good. Like playing wise, they sound really good. And I'm not just saying that. They, like, especially the trumpet players, they sound really solid, and
Yeah,
it's good.
Good kids.
So you're obviously doing something well there. And where do you find the students? What do they do afterwards, or what's their trajectory?
I mean, it's a pretty big range for them. I think when they come in, they all think they're going to Juilliard, and by the time they're interested in so many other things, right?
Yeah.
A few of them go on into music, and some of them become music teachers. And
Okay.
I mean, it's the same as any other school.
Sure. Have you had any of them come out to Toronto at all, either U of T or Humber or York? Or?
So I'm new to this school.
Okay.
A lot of our students, especially jazz students, go to Humber.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we've had several that went that way.
Okay.
Reasonably well. There's a band out there called the Au Pairs.
Okay.
They all came from Humber, and they came from Central before that. So.
Okay. Awesome. That's good.
But yeah, I'm trying to build up better relationships with the universities around the country, because I mean, I want to learn from you guys about what it is you expect coming in, and what you want to be able to do.
Yeah.
As well as just like, what a great opportunity for the kids to get to meet you and talk.
Sure. Well, part of this for us is outreach, right? And we're trying to make some connections outside of our general sort of geographic area, right? So that's why we're introducing this, and we're hoping that some students consider coming, because we're really building a really strong faculty in a lot of different areas. We're a very diverse program, so students are not locked into taking, just like, if you go to some schools, you're locked into either you're going to be a classical trumpet player, or you're going to be a jazz player, or you know what I mean? Whereas our school, we've got people playing in the orchestra, and playing in the jazz big band, and playing in a small group ensemble, playing in a Cuban music ensemble, and they can do whatever, and they come out a little more rounded, right? So a lot of our players that come out of our program end up playing in the shows, like the musicals and stuff downtown Toronto. Like we've got a few graduates that come from away, like playing in the musical, come from away, because they can play a lot of different musical styles and stuff, right? We don't just pigeonhole people. So
that's our world, like nobody can be locked in anymore.
No, you got to be, and that's what I keep stressing to students. You got to be able to do, like, if your interest is classical trumpet, great. I think that's awesome. But let's be honest, how many classical trumpet positions are there? There's only 3 in the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and that's right. So, but if you can play some jazz, and you can play some classical, and you can play some Latin or whatever, all of a sudden you can start to play the shows and gigs around town. You can teach all kinds of things, right? So that's what we're trying to encourage. So that's why we're out doing this outreach. So thanks so much for responding and making it so positive. I think the students really seem to be very engaged, which is nice.
Yeah, they're fantastic kids.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. So yeah, please encourage them to come out. I'd love to see some of them in July.
Absolutely.
For sure. And please keep in touch. Feel free to keep in touch. And if you want to do something similar like this in the future, let me know.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Have a great
So
night.
thanks. You too. Take care. Be safe out there.
Yeah, you
All
too.
right. All right. Take care. We'll talk to you. Bye.